Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So, I know recently we've been talking about all different kinds of drama and stories and all this stuff, TSM and LS and yada yada yada, but I know there are still some people that want to talk about what's actually going on in the LEC and going on in the LCS, and I like to talk about that stuff too. Obviously, I gotta cover the big stories, and I gotta get our scoops, and I gotta get to the juicy stuff, but today I did want to get back a little bit more to the gameplay side. Spring Split regular season, it's not that crazy, it's not that exciting, so there's not always a ton to talk about, but I did want to highlight, and I do really want to talk about this guy who I've been talking about all the way dating back to last season, beginning of this season, throughout this whole season. It seems like people are starting to get on him, more and more now, obviously, but I wanted to state my case for VTO. And I know VTO's not a super popular player. He's getting more popular, and I know Misfits isn't a super popular team, and I think, at the end of the day, that is kind of a big issue with him flying under a lot of people's radars, but I want to talk about just how good I think he is, why I think he is an MVP candidate, if not the LEC MVP, and in that process, maybe the best player in the West. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it a ton. Kind of a different video, not a super exciting or popular topic, but I still want this video to do well. So hey, can we get some support? And subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content. That would be absolutely awesome as well. There's a tweet that I wanted to pull up that I don't have pulled up here. Okay, there we go. I'm able to get it. But let's just get right into this. We'll jump into some stuff. I did want to look at some stats and stuff first. I think VTO has been a beast all year. I think some of his stats are so impressive. And I think people started to see some of that this weekend. I think he's been doing it most of the split, especially with not the greatest roster around him, but especially in the G2 game, where G2 had the biggest gold lead in LEC history that got thrown at 15 minutes. They were up like 10,000 gold at 13 minutes or something just ridiculous like that, and ended up losing. And it was on the back of a VTO going like 15-2 or 16-2 on Akali. People are talking about how different mid lane is and how maybe weak mid lane is or how team-oriented mid lane is. When they talk about like Caps or Perks or whatever, they're like, oh, of course Caps isn't popping off like 2019. The game has changed. You can't 1v9 anymore. It's more team-focused. It's more team-oriented. Mid lane's a different position, yada, yada, yada. And then there's VTO dropping 17 kill games against Caps, against G2 in the LEC. And I think it starts to put some things into perspective. That one, people make a lot of excuses for their favorite players and their favorite teams. People are more likely to make an excuse for why Caps maybe isn't as good as he used to be or isn't performing as well as he used to, and same thing with Perks, rather than, building up new, big, exciting players. And I've said it before, if VTO played on G2 or if VTO played on Fnatic, one, he'd have much better teammates around him, I think, and he would have probably had more team success at this point in his career. But two, he would also be much more popular. He'd have a lot more people talking about him, and I do think he'd be at the forefront of a lot of these discussions. But I think there are some very interesting stats to showcase the season that VTO's having so far. In terms of KDA, he is second in the KDA in terms of all mid laners in the LEC right now, which is pretty impressive. KDA, not that big of a deal, and obviously winning teams are going to have higher KDAs and all this stuff, but VTO gets a lot done. He is, I believe, the kill leader. He's the kill leader for mid laners. He is the kill leader for all players in the LEC. And despite that, he has the least deaths of any mid laner in the LEC. This guy racks up a ton of kills, and he's not dying a ton to do it. There's a lot of people who get more kills by going aggressive, going for the big play, trading 2 for 1, trading 3 for 1 in fights, getting all this. VTO is not dying, and is still racking up and securing the kills for his team. And it's not just because Misfits necessarily plays a super fast tempo, bloody game state either, because that could also happen as well. It's just the fact that VTO also has the highest kill share percentage in the league. Like, not only getting a ton of kills, he's getting a huge portion of his team's kills. And that makes sense, but I know there is some arguments like, if some teams play faster, yeah, they're going to get more kills or whatever. No, it's nothing like that. Misfits plays, maybe they play a little bit faster, but they generally play, a regular LEC style game. It's just VTO's getting a ton of kills, not dying, having a great KDA, doing a lot of these amazing things. The one knock on him is he doesn't have great laning stats, and I don't know if this is just something he needs to work on. If he's still young and relatively inexperienced in his career, he's going to get better at laning, or if he just plays a lot of, hard scaling late game champions because his team needs him to be there as like a late game carry. obviously it's probably a little bit of both. Could he be better in lane? Yeah, sure. And have they definitely lost some games where he's trying to scale up and doesn't get to? Yeah, sure. But he's also played, some Sylas, some Akali, not great in lane. He's played some Cassiopeia, which certain matchups can be good in lane, but it's also, you're trying to scale up a little bit and stuff. So he has maybe some champion pool placed into some part of, he's towards the bottom in terms of gold differential at 10. XP differential at 10, he's actually 4th, so that's not too bad. And then CSD at 10, just kind of middle of the pack. So he doesn't really stand out there, but KDA getting things done for his team, kills, not dying a lot, and still doing that stuff, I think has been really, really good for him. Damage per minute, he's the second highest damage per minute mid laner in the league. I just think he gets a ton done. And if you look at some of Misfits games over the course of the season, they just recently lost to Vitality. And in this game, VTO went 4-2-1, even in a loss. He's still putting up a fight. And obviously this is against Perkz, who is just a legendary mid laner. But some of the more recent, really, really big pop-off games, 16-2 on Akali against G2. I mean, that's a solo queue game. That's not an LEC game. This is a guy playing at a different level. You don't see any 15 plus 10 plus kill game for many people in the LEC right now, let alone a 16-2 game. And again, yes, he was kind of set up for success in this game. Yes, it's a fed Akali with a Yuumi on him. That's definitely helping. And his team did well in this one. Neon is 8-2-12. It's not like anything like that, but this was a crazy game when they needed it most. It led this amazing comeback. I don't think he had too crazy of a game against Mad Lions. 5-0-2. This actually was a pretty impressive Corki carry. The stat line doesn't show it necessarily, but look at the rest of his team. 1-2, 0-4, 1-2, 0-2. He goes 5-0 on Corki, helps his team win that one. He had a big game against Rogue, 3-1-11 on Orianna. Obviously, Rogue's a team ahead of them on the standings, so that's always going to be a big one. 6-0-15 on Rise, getting just an insane amount done around the map. We have this one as well. Where's he at? 3-1-12 on Zoe, same thing. And obviously, Zoe's one of his signature champions. And then we have a 12-2-6 on Yasuo. Yes, that is Yasuo Diana, but again, we see tons of people playing Yasuo Diana. Not everyone's going 12-2 on Yasuo. So he and Misfits went on a recent 6-game winning streak where they beat G2, they beat Rogue, they beat Excel. They beat a lot of these pretty decent teams. Now, yes, they have lost to Vitality twice, which has kind of been their issue at this point, but I think Misfits have been playing great, and I think Video is a huge part of that. When you take a look at the LEC standings, they're in 3rd place right now. I don't know if this is all the way up to date. This might have not had the most recent games up to date, so this might be a little bit different, but I think this is up to date. Sitting at 10-5, and they're ahead of G2, they're ahead of Excel, they're ahead of Vitality, they're ahead of Mad Lions. And are those other teams more talented than Misfits? Like outside of Video, is Misfits that talented of a roster? Are they a roster full of top 3 players in the LEC at their position? Is Hirit a top 3 top laner? Is Zlatan a top 3 jungler in the LEC? Neon is having a decent split. He's had some good games. I just showed, he has some big kill games. He gets in on the action, but is he a top 3 AD carry? Is Mersa a top 3 support? But Misfits is sitting there as 3rd place in the LEC regular season right now. And I know there is a lot of people talking about how, hey, Hylissang should be the MVP, or maybe you think somebody on Rogue should be the MVP, but Fnatic and Rogue are altogether way more cohesive teams. Rogue and Fnatic are top to bottom way more talented teams than Misfits. And the fact that Misfits is 1 game behind Fnatic and 2 games behind Rogue, and however many games up, 3 games up on Vitality and a game up on G2, these teams that everyone was saying were going to be amazing teams coming into the season, were going to be top 3. You need to give love to Video. He is a huge part of this. There was a tweet that I thought was just very strange. Medic, he was talking to Dagda, and he said, before the game, I proposed a Video as an MVP candidate graphic to Dagda. He said he wasn't sure yet. And then this is before, this tweet comes after Video popped off against G2, had the Akali game. This is a little bit concerning to me. Obviously like a color caster, analyst, whatever. Even if going into the game, you didn't think Video was even an MVP candidate, that is very concerning. Now, maybe you didn't think he was the MVP. Everyone's going to have different opinions. Again, maybe a Rogue player, maybe a Fnatic player, whatever. Hylissang's having an amazing split, an amazing year. I've talked about him maybe being the best player in the West right now. But if you didn't even think Video was an MVP candidate, that is very worrying to me, especially if you are getting paid to be an LEC analyst or like a guest on the LEC or whatever. Very, very strange. I thought this was a super, super weird tweet, and I even tweeted that out. I said, pretty ridiculous take even before that game. Yeah, I don't know. Like, and this guy said, there's Malrong, Larson, Hylissang have been good as well this year. Yes, that's fine, but that doesn't mean Video's not a candidate. That doesn't mean Video's not in the mix. If you're not even sure that he's in the mix, that's weird. That's strange. That is borderline concerning. And to make things even more interesting, we'll see how Misfits does the rest of the regular season. We'll see how they do in the playoffs. They could even choke in the playoffs, but obviously MVP is a regular season award. And I do still think some of these other teams are more talented. Vitality, probably going to be a harder team to beat in best of fives. Caps and Yankos, I hope they step up in best of fives. Fnatic, Rogue, they're going to be great teams. I don't really know how well Misfits is going to be able to step up. But I do know if Misfits does something in the playoffs, so they make some kind of run, Video is going to be a huge part of it. But he's also a free agent in this next coming up offseason. That's going to be very, very spicy. Everyone is going to want a piece of this guy. He's going to get a bang. He's going to make a ton of money to go somewhere. That's going to be very, very, very interesting to follow. And again, right now, I think he's one of the best players in the LEC. If you think the LEC is a great league and even better in the LCS or whatever, or even if you think they're comparable, then that means, hey, he's probably one of the best, if not one of the best players in the West right now. And I don't think he's getting that kind of recognition. I don't think he's getting that kind of fanfare. He's carrying a not great Misfits team and making them do some pretty great things, and hey, I'm a fan. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Tell me to drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this topic. You think Video is the MVP, an MVP candidate, overrated, overhyped? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.